Welcome back to another video, and I'm checking out a laptop that a lot of you have been asking for, and that is the Jumper EZbook X4 Pro. So this has quite a promising looking build to it. It's got a 1080p IPS screen, a backlit keyboard, SSD. I believe it has one of those easy access hatches on the bottom of it, and it also has double data rate 8 gigabytes of it, and a Core i3 5005U. Yeah, I can hear some of you probably going, oh, yes, that is a dated CPU, but will it actually turn out to be faster than the quad-core Gemini Lake found in the EZbook X4 that I reviewed? So I ordered this one here from gearbest.com. It took about 3 weeks to arrive because I used the slow method. Now the padding, the box that they've gone for, the protection it offers, not particularly good here from Jumper. You can see it's already got a couple of marks and things on here. So our power supply, that's going to be right here in the top box, probably with an adapter. We get a quick start user guide here. And well, at least it has a lot of padding actually around the laptop itself, as you can see. So our power supply is DC, so it's not actually using Type-C charging. It does have a Type-C port on it. It's rated to 19 volts and 2.1 amps. So the X4 Pro, it weighs in at 1.43 kilos. That's not actually too bad. The Honor MagicBook that I just looked at is 1.45 kilos, for example. Now the thickness of it, it's 16 millimeters. And if you include the rubber feet on the rear of it, that brings it up then to 20 millimeters. So the lid of it is made out of alloy, just like the underside. And if I press down here, there's no flex on that whatsoever. There is a Jumper logo in white, and you can barely make it out because of the contrast between the silver and the white. Then the underside, we've got, it looks like intake vent at the top, another intake vent here, and an exit vent on the front left-hand side is strange. So will that end up heating up the palm rest? I'll have to find that out, of course. Here we have an SSD slot, so just one screw, and it looks like that's going to house just the smaller 2242 sized one, which you can see is not actually populated at all with anything. So if you want to upgrade from the 256 gigabytes that we have, it's SSD storage, then you can add a second SSD here. Gaining access to the internals is not difficult. If you needed to clean the fan, if you wanted to change the main SSD, then simply remove all the screws on the bottom, and the rear cover just lifts off. That easy. So we have a full-size 2280mm SSD in here from 4C. And you can see we've got copper heatsink that's over the chipset and also over the RAM. So non-upgradable RAM, non-upgradable wireless as well. You can only change the two SSDs. That's it. So we'll add an extra SSD. And cleaning the fan there would not be too difficult. A very odd location, having that fan, of course, on the left side with the palm rest right up front. Okay, so now to have a look at the keyboard. So can you open it up one-handed? Yes. Oh, only just. You're going to really need two hands for it. Oh dear. Those keycaps are actually quite hard to see. I really don't like it when manufacturers do that. So they've gone, of course, it's a backlit keyboard, but the keycaps are painted silver. They have a bit of a curvature to them, so they curve inwards a little bit, making them a little bit more comfortable. Good keycap size. And pressing down here hard, there is a tiny little bit of flex, a little bit of bounce there. So it's not rock solid, the keyboard, in that regard. So full size arrow keys, that's good to see. Power button separated away from the keyboard, that is also good to see. The keycap plastic themselves doesn't feel super high quality. I mean, it's not bad. It's the fact that they've painted the keys that I'm not really too happy about. I would have preferred this being black keys, and then of course you can see the letters much clearer. So just above that keyboard we have one of those horrible looking up your neck webcam locations with dual array mics either side of it. And you can see those four little grills there. Those are speaker grills. So we're going to have either 2 or 4 tiny little tinny speakers here. And a first quick look at the screen. So it's covered with glass. Okay, but it's not fully laminated, which is disappointing there. I really wish this was a matte screen. It does give strength to the lid of it, and the hinge feels good, and you can't really flex that at all because of the glass. But of course that glass can smash too if it was to have some pressure applied to it, say in a backpack or something. Good news here is the BIOS is fully unlocked, and we do have 8 gigabytes. It's just a single channel DDR3 that they are using, running at 1600 megahertz. As for ports, we've got a USB 3 port, micro SD card reader, and 3.5mm headphone jack on the right hand side. Left hand side DC in then for charging, a Type-C port, USB 3.1 apparently, and a full-size USB 3 and mini HDMI out. So I have some good news with the Type-C port here. I've tested out my power bank and it does support power delivery Type-C charging, which is really good. So the touchpad, it's a large touchpad they've gone with, and it is using Windows Precision drivers. And just to touch on the keyboard again, you can see the letters on each of the keys here are a lot better. It really depends on the angle you're looking at it. So to talk about the panel that we have here on this laptop, it's not an IPS panel. Now I'm sure I saw somewhere that it said IPS, but look at this. See how it shifts out? That's a trait of a TN panel. This is a TN panel, okay? So the chip has a 15 watt power limit, so this is a lot more than the Gemini Lakes, but what it is lacking that the Gemini Lake has is of course the native 10-bit HEVC decoding by hardware. Here it's going to have to be software because that GPU is not actually going to support that at all because it's the Intel HD Graphics 5500. That's a little bit old here, so hopefully we can actually increase these power limits, boost them up a little bit and tweak that because the BIOS is fully unlocked. We might be able to improve on the performance a little bit. So that SSD that's inside is a SATA 3 one, of course. It's not NVMe. And those are the speeds there. So they're fine. They're good, as you'd expect. 4C is a Chinese brand there, 256 gigabytes. Windows 10 checks out. It's licensed properly and no problems with that. I'll just take a quick peek at the free space as well. One thing that I know a lot of people were always after. So you get about 224 gigabytes free, which is not too bad. So here's our Geekbench 4 score. It is faster than the Sauron N4100. Even though this is a dual core, what's really limiting, of course, the Core i3s is the turbo, the lack of turbo. There is none. It's just 2 gigahertz. That's it. So you can't go any higher, and this is what's really capping our speeds here. So single core performance, this is a good about 1,000, well actually under about 800 points more than the N4100. And I did run OpenCL as well. This comes out about 2,000 points higher than the Gemini Lake. So really this is about the same kind of performance, they're very similar chips, to the Core M3 6Y30. So we've got 44% Adobe RGB, not good at all, but look at the sRGB, 59% as well. So as mentioned, this is a terrible TN panel they've gone with. It's really bad. And the calibration out of the box is just super bad as well. I mean, I've calibrated it now to make it look a little bit better using my Spider 5 Pro, NTSC 42%. So yeah, really, really terrible display. So this is the wireless AC, which is that Intel 3165. I just wanted to go over here the speeds of it because I have another problem to report on, and that is when I showed you the internals, I didn't point out there clearly, and in fact I don't even think I mentioned it, that the wireless antennas are located next to the speakers, so next to the magnets from the speakers that are in there, and it's not good for the upload speeds. I'm not getting very good speeds at all here. So I'm getting like 23 megabits per second upload. And the maximum I've seen is about 35, 40. So yeah, not good because I should be getting about 200 at least out of this chipset, even more, around 300. And I'm just not getting the speeds that I should from it. So something is clearly up with that. And you can see here with Steam, with my downloads as well, when I was just downloading a few things. Actually, that's not showing up for me. But I was getting around 18 megabytes per second downloads, and I was expecting just a little bit more than that to come through. So yeah, something's definitely up. Not good wireless performance. Okay, multitasking, performance. I can talk a little bit about that. That's yeah, it does actually feel a little bit faster than the Gemini Lake because of the faster single core performance it has out of it. Even though the turbo is lower, it's the 15 watt CPU. And here is just document editing as well. So you can edit docs, add images, and all that. A little bit of multitasking here is not going to be too much of an issue. And Chrome as well. So I've just noticed that performance seems to be good, fine in that aspect there. I don't want to go into too much detail here because I really don't want to spend any more time with this absolute lemon of a laptop. So thermals is one area that I can actually praise here. The thermals are very good. So you can see now I've been running for 24 minutes and I've been doing a few benchmarks and stress tests and things, and it really is quite good. Now the maximum seen at top out is about 65 degrees. Okay, that was when I was gaming. Gaming performance, so I will just give you a very quick demonstration of Counter-Strike so you can see what to expect.
Then the speakers, they are as expected for this kind of laptop. They are extremely poor. They are lacking in volume, and at 100% volume, they do have a little bit of distortion. Very flat, and they are completely just slaughtering this soundtrack in a bad way because they just sound so horrible. Now, I've only really just fully charged it at the moment, but I can give you an estimate. So it's just the 37 watt hour battery that this has. Now, that's what we normally get with the Gemini Lake Chinese laptops that I review, and the same capacity that is, in fact, in Chewy's EZbook. Now, that's about the same kind of power that it has, that particular CPU. This one, because it has the higher power limits, can even consume more. So the estimated battery life from me, which I'm sure is going to actually be quite accurate here, is going to be about 4.5 to 5 hours. So you're not going to get wonderful battery life. And that's probably a good estimate. It could actually be worse than that, especially if you start doing something really demanding too. You've got a little tiny fan that you need to power as well, which takes away a little bit of power. And the fact, of course, those higher power limits that it does have mean that, yeah, it's going to burn through it. So not amazing battery life on this laptop. So here we go, Counter-Strike 720p, the lowest possible settings, of course, for this hardware. And we're getting around 30 frames per second. I've seen it dip down to 19 at one point. So, you know, it's not ideal. But at least you're getting semi-playable frame rate. But right now I can see it's suffering with a lot going on. I mean, look at that, 18 frames per second now. Super laggy. A quick peek back after that gameplay of the thermals. So 62 degrees there, and as I mentioned before, 65 was the highest I've seen it get. Fan noise is actually quite good. I mean, it's on, you can hear it, but it's not very loud. It's only about 40 decibels, and it doesn't really annoy that much at all, which is at least a positive we're getting out of this particular machine.
Alright, so I do apologize in advance now for not posting a full review of it, but I'm not going any further with this laptop, okay, because I've seen enough. And for those people that were asking me all the time that why aren't I branching out to the May Ben brands, to the Jumpers, to the Ondas, well, Onda's not making laptops anymore, so, you know, that's why. You can see now why I stick to mostly Xiaomi, Honor, Chewy, TechTablets, because at least you're getting now, they've built themselves a bit of a name, they've got a good build quality, because this Jumper is kind of going backwards. Jumper, they're slipping. In fact, no, they have slipped. They have fallen completely, because if you have a look at the EZbook 3 Pro, at the time, the year when that was released, when that came out with the Apollo Lake, it was actually really good build quality, thin, all metal build, it was good. And it had an IPS screen on it that was fine. And this now, TM panel, I mean, wow, come on. We're going backwards here. The CPU is quite a few generations old, but it does have about the same power as a Core M3 6Y30. But you've got a little bit of fan noise here, some heat build up with a very strange location. So the exit vent is here. And the fan noise, it's not too bad. I can give them, yeah, credit for not having a noisy fan. Typing on the keyboard, not great. So the keycaps themselves, they feel a little bit cheap. And as I pointed out, they're quite hard to see because of the silver keycaps. Touchpad seems okay. Plastic, palm rest, and really the speakers too. Bad. Battery life, bad. Lemon, yes, it's a lemon. So I've posted this video, now you know to avoid this one here. And really, Jumper, come on. You need to start to improve on your products. I want to see the Jumper that used to be with the EZbook 3 Pro days, and they had some good tech coming out. I mean, why can't they do that? So they're losing it. They're not going to make it as a company releasing products like this. Thank you so much for watching this video. Do catch my reviews of some better laptops, like this one here, that's Chewy's EZbook. And in the channel I will have this posted very shortly. This one is the Honor MagicBook, also known as the Huawei MateBook D. It's the 2019 edition with a Ryzen 5 3500U, and it costs about 180 euros more than this cheap rubbish there. So thank you for watching, and I hope to catch you back with those videos. Bye for now.